hope you're all okay. It's time for me to talk to you about injury prevention as part of your race training. Now, we don't talk about this at the very beginning of the program, and that's because when we start a running program, as human beings, we tend to think that we're a little bit invincible. We don't necessarily think about injury. We haven't yet been overtraining if we are going to overtrain, and so the body's generally feeling okay. But it's important for me to talk about this early enough that I can try and convince you to take better care of yourself so that you don't get injured in the first place. So I'm going to give you 6 tips today for you to follow. If you've got a short attention span like I have, I'm going to tell you all 6 at the beginning of this video and then go into a little bit more detail. So if you're like me, just at least watch the 6 tips first before you swipe out of this video, because they're just here to help you. So the 6 things I want you to think about. Number 1 is making sure you always warm up and stretch afterwards. And I hope that this goes without saying now. You know, if you run with me and the Elsdon Running Club, that we always warm up with dynamic stretches before we go, and we always cool down at the end and do static stretches. Always, always in every class, and we always will. But please make sure that translates into your own runs as well. I posted a video on your Facebook group just last week with an example of warm-up dynamic stretches and cool down stretches, so use those. Number 2 is making sure you get enough rest and recovery. Number 3 is about making sure you've got the right shoes on. So check your running shoes. If you need new trainers because they're too worn out, make sure you get them now, get them early on in the process. In your training guide manual, there's everything you need to know about trainers. Number 4, get treatment if you need it. So if you're feeling niggles and tightness and you think, I really need to get this sorted out, get treatment straight away. Number 5 is making sure your nutrition and your hydration are on point. Again, all of that is in your manual, but I'll go over that a little bit as well. And number 6, making sure you listen to your body. If there's something going on, if there are niggles going on, if something doesn't feel right, don't ignore it when you're training for a race, because it will only get worse with the amount of training and the volume of training that we're going to put through the body. So just listen to it. So I'll go through those in a little bit more detail. Number 1, warm up and stretch. There's not a great deal more that needs to be said about that. Use the video. It is 2 minutes of your life each time you run, and just make it a habit. To be honest, for me, when I finished a run, I like just taking a minute to kind of get my head back in the game and think about the run and how it's been and catch my breath if I've had a nice sprint finish and all of that sort of stuff. But it's crucial before you run that you get the muscles moving in preparation for what you're about to do, and it is crucial at the end that you stretch the lactic acid out of your muscles. It also means you ache less the next day, so you've got lots of benefits, but injury prevention is also one of them. So make sure you're doing your warm-ups and your stretches as well. Point number 2 was about rest and recovery. So if you're following my training plan, then the rest and recovery is all already fit into the training plan for you. But it is important, going along with point number 6 about listening to your body, that if you feel like it is getting a bit too much, that you drop out of a run or you drop a training run if you need to, particularly with the distance runs. So I put in 2 extra distance runs into this training plan so that there is room for error. There is room for you to say, my body's not feeling it, I need to take this weekend off and rest it. So make sure you get rest and recovery. If you're training, say in the gym, or you go to classes, or you go to a boot camp, or you see a personal trainer, just be careful of how you fit that in around your training plan as well, because you don't want to overdo it. Point number 3 was about your running trainers. I cannot stress enough how important your running trainers are. They're the number 1 thing you need to get right, both to help you with good running technique, but also to look after your posture and to definitely help with injury prevention. You must get a gait analysis done on your feet. You only need to get that done once. Once you know your feet and you know your gait, you don't have to do it again. Get your trainers fitted properly. You will feel the difference when you run when you've got properly fitted trainers. And then always ask when you buy your trainers the kind of mileage you can expect to get out of them. Depending on the shoes you buy, it will probably be between 500 and 800 miles out of a pair of trainers, which doesn't necessarily mean anything. People are always saying to me, well, how long does that last? But obviously that's impossible to ask if I don't know how often you're running, because if you go for a run once a year, then they're going to last you a very long time. So just have a look at them. It's good to have a look at the soles of your shoe and see if you're wearing down sort of one edge. If you start to see the grip going on the bottom of your trainers, then you'll know that. Or if you're starting to feel any tweaks in your lower leg, your calves are tightening up or your knees are starting to tighten up, then it's worth having a look at your trainers. But if you're not sure, just ask me. I can have a look at your trainers, I can have a look at how you're running, and we can have a see whether it's time for you to get a new pair. Also, if you go into a running shop and ask them, they will tell you how long you've got left in your trainers as well, realistically. Point number 4 for injury prevention was about getting treatment. Now, treatment doesn't have to be because you are injured. You don't have to wait until the point where you're hobbling around before you get treatment. I use treatment when I'm injured, but I also use treatment as prevention. So before I do a race, however big the race is, I will have a treatment the week before. If it's a really big race or I'm injured, I might have treatment a couple of weeks leading up to it, but I will always have a massage the week before on my legs and my glutes to make sure that the muscles are in the best condition possible, and that the recovery is aided through the treatment, and that any injuries that might have been building up can be flushed out before they become a real issue, before you then start compensating and hobbling a little bit when you're running and then causing other injuries, secondary injuries to come along. So there's lots of different types of treatment, and you need to do the treatment that's right for you. As most of you know, I'm a sports massage therapist as well. I really enjoy sports massage therapy on myself in terms of me personally being a runner as well. But you need to do what your body responds best to. For some people that's sports massage, for some people it's osteopathy or chiropractor or whatever works for you. And just make sure that your body is feeling as good as it possibly can. You won't regret it on race day when you're feeling fresher. Point number 5 in terms of injury prevention was all about nutrition and hydration, and both of those are so important. There's a big section in your manuals, your training manuals for your race, about nutrition and hydration, how important they are. They're really important for each run that you do, not just for race day itself, but also, of course, for your general well-being. So making sure you're getting plenty of protein in to aid growth and repair from the recovery of your run is super important. Making sure you've got all your vitamins and minerals in, so your energy levels are well balanced. Making sure your blood sugar levels are balanced by eating regularly, and making sure that you're hydrated. It can often take going for a run for people to realise how dehydrated they are, and you don't want to get to that point, and nor does anybody around you when they're running with you. They don't want to have to carry you back. So have a read through your manual with regard to that. Obviously it's a huge topic, so I don't want to go into all of it now, but if you've got specific questions, please just ask me about that. And the final point, number 6, was listen to your body. So make sure if you're feeling anything that you think you're a bit unsure about, especially if this is your first race or you haven't done a race for a very long time and you're building your distance up, you will experience all sorts of different sensations with your body. Things tightening up, things feeling wonky, things feeling not quite right, muscles growing, body shapes changing, all of these things. And most of them are great, and you want to appreciate your body for all the things it can do. But sometimes something doesn't feel right, a joint doesn't feel right, a muscle feels too tight, something's niggling. I can promise you when you're training for a race, there is no benefit to ignoring that. And even if you just want to ask me, while we're out running, just ask me. Make use of the fact that I'm a sports massage therapist and a personal trainer, and ask me the questions you want to ask me, because that's what I'm there for. So I cannot stress enough how important injury prevention is. I know you think it won't happen to you, but unfortunately, statistically, every group we run, there will be somebody that drops out of a race because they get injured. Sometimes because they don't look after themselves, and sometimes just because our bodies just give in sometimes, and I've been there, and it's horrible, and you don't want to have to drop out of the race. And also, you don't want to do the race under duress of any kind, emotional or physical. So please make sure you look after yourselves, look after each other, and if you've got any questions, then just ask me.